Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born on January 27, 1756 in Salzburg, Austria. Mozart's early talent for music was remarkable. At age 3, he was picking out chords on the harpsichord. At age 4, he was playing short pieces. At 5, he began composing. And at age 6, he started his public performances. At a young age, Mozart performed for royalty and noble houses. Additionally, during his lifetime, he was able to compose hundreds of works including sonatas, symphonies, masses, concertos, and operas.
There were several political, cultural, and economic events that occurred during Mozart's lifetime. The remnants of the Holy Roman Empire had divided into small, semi-self-governing city-states, resulting in the rivalries between these groups for identity and recognition. This would cause the rise of one of the most talented and renowned musical composers of all time.
He was born to a middle-class family. However, later in his life, Mozart was left deeply in debt because he was only achieving moderate success with his compositions. In addition, his finances were further complicated when his wife became ill.
During the course of his lifetime, Mozart lost his mother, father, and his beloved wife. Due to the loss of his loved ones, he went into recluse and stopped composing for a while. When he began to write again, he wrote darker music, unusual from his normal bright melodies.
After experiencing hardships financially and mentally, Mozart strived to be one of the most renowned musicians of all time. He didn't want to settle for average. He wanted to be more than what people would ever expect him to be, and that is exactly what he did.
Although Mozart's music was very unique, he was highly influenced by Johann Sebastian Bach, and under his influence, Mozart was able to compose a few of his first symphonies, which still stand today. They are the K16, K19, and K19A.
Additionally, knowing that his son had great potential, Mozart's father took him to Vienna, which in turn greatly influenced Mozart's composing. After meeting Haydn in Vienna, Mozart composed 6-string quartets with fuller textures and more intellectual approaches. For Mozart, a new level of composition was achieved. He wrote 2 new symphonies and his first true piano concerto.
It was obvious that Mozart's travels in Europe had a great effect on his writing. He incorporated international styles in the symphonies he wrote. In his symphony, K318 in G major, Parisian qualities were apparent. Mozart began using crescendos and coups d'archet, a Parisian style of bowing.
It was clear that Mozart loved music. In a letter to his father, he wrote, "You know that I immerse myself in music, so to speak, that I think about it all day long, that I like experimenting, studying, and reflecting."
In the beginning of his composing career, he often wrote down sketches, ranging in size from small snippets to extensive drafts. Also, he needed a piano to work out his thoughts. At the age of 8, Mozart was able to improvise and use his ability as a backup for sight reading and to save time. Most of all, though, later in his life, he used his superhuman memory to compose, which made the use of sketches and keyboards unnecessary.
we just perform one of Mozart's earlier pieces. In this duet, the two different voices are not very complex and are very similar to each other. There are not many dynamic changes. However, Mozart does take this stylistic liberty in adding some staccato bowings. His earlier pieces were elegant yet simple.
One of Mozart's most famous works of art was Eine kleine Nachtmusik, which translates into a little night music. He created this piece for parties, and we'll give you a little snippet of it right now.
As we can see, Mozart's compositional style transformed later in his life. This piece he composed is much more complex than the one we performed. Because Eine kleine Nachtmusik was written during his mature life, Mozart added new musical styles such as brushstroke for the eighth notes. Also, in the duet we performed, the voices are very similar. However, in this quartet, the four parts are unique. He used syncopation, repeats of melodies, more dynamic changes, crescendos, and diminuendos.
Mozart's music stands as an archetypal example of the classical style. His own stylistic development reflected the development of the classical style as a whole. He was a versatile composer and wrote in almost every major genre, including symphony, opera, the solo concerto, chamber music, and piano sonata. While none of these genres were new, the piano concerto was almost single-handedly developed and popularized by Mozart.
The central traits of the classical style can be identified in Mozart's music. Clarity, balance, and transparency are highlights of his work. Mozart's music will stand the test of time, and people will continue to love his work for centuries to come.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born on January 27th, 1756.
Why did you laugh? Why?